As part of the Warframe yearly celebration, we're treated to a couple of free goodies, one of them the Dex Sybaris. And today we're gonna be diving deeper into this Mastery Rank 7 primary weapon. Hey guys, hello and welcome back. As always, my name is Leyzar and my voice is totally shot, but I have a cheap build for you guys, something affordable that anybody can build, but of course we also have the classic endgame setup with a Riven. That being said though, please keep in mind that my builds and guides follow a new player friendly approach, simply because there's a lot of info here and I want anybody watching to understand how the weapon functions and how it should be built. So if you're a veteran of the game and already know most of this stuff, then please, bear with me. And with that out of the way, let's jump into the Dex Sybaris. Let's begin by having a look at how the weapon behaves without any mods equipped. And for that I'm simply going to be taking a couple of free shots. You'll notice that the Dex Sybaris is a burst rifle and per shot you're going to be consuming 2 ammo, 14 ammo in a clip, so effectively 7 shots. Now the interesting part of the Dex Sybaris is the fact that it doesn't have one of those standard recoils, one of those climbing recoils like the Sybaris Prime has, for example. That can cause your second or third bullet, depending on the weapon, to land nowhere near your initial target. This is not a problem with the Dex Sybaris. As you can see, most of the time the second bullet kinda lands in the same area as the first bullet. And that's pretty much it. Let's jump into stats to see precisely what we're dealing with. Mod capacity is gonna be 60 out of 60 and the Dex Sybaris does come by default with an auto-cane catalyst installed, so you don't need to worry about that. Next, my weapon has been formatted a total of 5 times, but this was done only for the purpose of testing. For the weapon build, I'm recommending you guys 2 free format should do it. Accuracy is 28.6. Now this is pretty much par for the course when it comes to assault rifles. However, if you were to slap on heavy caliber, that will bring the accuracy down to 15.5. And if you take into account multi-shot, then the Dex Sybaris does come a very inaccurate weapon with heavy caliber installed, so I do not recommend it. Critical chance is 35%, which is sky high, and this will be the primary strength of the weapon. And the crit multi of 2.0, which is quite nice. Fire rate of 4.17, a magazine of 14, and a reload of 1.5. Now you do get that magazine of 14, but let's keep in mind that those are only effectively 7 shots, and you will be reloading quite often with the Dex Sybaris. 1.5 seconds isn't that big of a deal, but it does tend to get slightly annoying. Riven disposition 2 out of 5, which means that the Dex Sybaris, or better said the Sybaris family, is quite popular and the Rivens will be decent at best. Status chance 10%, and this is the weak point of the weapon. If this was 15 or 20%, it would have probably, no, for sure it would have outclassed the Prime. As it stands now, the Dex Sybaris can give the Prime a run for its money anyway. Impact, puncture and slash is the default damage on the weapon, and the highest amount is slash, which is awesome. But then again, my status chance is only 10%, so I'm not gonna be getting a huge benefit out of the fact that slash is highest, but at least it's not impact, so there you go. Let's start slapping on some mods, starting with mandatory mod Serration, 165% extra damage. Next we're gonna go into multi-shot with split chamber and vigilante armaments, and this will total 150% multi-shot between these two. That means that I'm gonna be getting a guaranteed second bullet with each and every shot and a 50% chance at a third bullet. Also, considering the fact that the Dex Sybaris is primarily a crit weapon, I will be getting some benefit out of the set bonus from vigilante armaments as well. Now again, this is only an afterthought. You shouldn't base your decision on the set bonus alone, but it's nice to have. Now we did say that this is a crit weapon, so why not more crit with point strike 150% and of course crit damage with vital sense. 87.5% critical chance with point strike alone. That is absolutely bloody glorious, and of course the multiplier jumped up to 4.4 as well. Next, this is when we gotta decide what exactly are we going to do with the weapon. We can build it for slash, we can build it for elemental, so we're gonna be trying both of these approaches and see what exactly would be the ideal build for the Dex Sybaris, or better said, what are the viable options. First of all, we're gonna be going into an elemental build, and elemental damage should always be applied on a weapon depending on circumstances. Where are you going and who are you fighting? For example, if you're up against the infested, these tend to swarm you with their numbers, but they're fairly weak, so I would recommend AoE weapons heavily modded into heat. I wouldn't really take something like the Dex Sybaris against them. But if you want to know more about the infested, you should know that they have 4 health types, each with their own unique vulnerabilities and resistances to damage. The info is available on the wiki. If you're going up against Corpus faction, then they have big shields, and against big shields you can build magnetic damage. However, a smarter idea can be to build gas or toxin, which will bypass their shields entirely and deal damage to their health. When it comes to the Grenier, these are recognized as being the toughest targets in Warframe, and that's because they have 2 heavy-duty armor types. Alloy, which is weak to radiation damage, and Ferrite, which is weak to corrosive damage. Against Grenier, more often than not, your best bet is to build corrosive damage, which has a 75% damage bonus versus Ferrite. Against Alloy, it doesn't really have a damage bonus, but on a status proc, it will still strip some of that armor away, so your consecutive shots will be doing more damage, as long as you proc corrosive, that is. So let's do that with electricity and toxin, 60 mods over 90 mods in this case. Now the benefit you get by using the 60s over the 90s in the case of the Dex Sybaris isn't huge, but it's still a tad better than just going for flat out 90s. High voltage, this one is the only mod that is a bit of a pain to get. It can be farmed from the game. The mission Na Elgar on the planet Eris. You have to find all the free secret caches, then upon extraction you got a 5% chance of getting high voltage or shell shock, which is the exact same thing only for shotguns, and you will be needing both of them for your primary build, so I do recommend you guys either hit up the trade chat and spare yourself the hassle on the Na Elgar, or simply go and farm. Got my electricity, let's go to toxin, and this one is a lot cheaper and easier to obtain. Malignant Force, 60% toxin and 60% status chance. This one can be farmed from Corrupted Vor in the Void. It's easy to farm Vor, don't worry about it too much, but if you can't be bothered, from the trade chat, 10 to 15 plat on an absolute max. Now let's have a look at the weapon. I got high crit chance, which is awesome, and my status chance went to 46.3%. Keep in mind that this is a shot status chance. The only true status chance effects that I slapped on the weapon were high voltage and malignant force. And this will be your option slot. Cater each and every weapon to your own individual playstyle. A lot of players enjoy punch through, so you can go for something like shred, fire rate and punch through. If you have prime shred, then even better. You're going to be getting 55% fire rate and 2.2 meters worth of punch through. Now another way you can go, if you have this one, I don't know if you do, it's called Argon Scope, and this one from the trade chat currently is about 150-200 plat because the Acolyte event just rolled out, I think like a couple of weeks ago. More crit chance is awesome for the Dex Sybaris, and keep in mind that with the proc from Argon Scope you're gonna be going way over 100%, so welcome to orange territory when it comes to crit chance. However, this is an elemental build, and in this case we're gonna be going for increasing our elemental combo with electricity. Doesn't really matter which of the two you slap on, it will provide the exact same results. So let's test it out and see what the weapon can do with a straightforward elemental build. This is pretty standard when it comes to rifle builds, nothing out of the ordinary, and this will serve as a bit of a gauge, a benchmark for what is to come. And I'm just gonna go for straight rapid fire. I guess you can already notice one of the problems. I'm not proccing enough corrosive. I think I got 2 or 3 corrosive procs on the target. Even though my corrosive damage is pretty high on the weapon, I'm not gonna be getting all that many procs because it plays into the weapon's status chance. Base status chance of only 10%. Now with all the mods I slapped on, I do have 46% per shot, but as you can see in practice, it's simply a tad underwhelming. For a weapon that has a high amount of crit and a low amount of status, this is definitely not the way to go, but I still thought I should show off this build, just in case some of you were wondering if it can pork it out with an elemental build or not. I wouldn't recommend an approach such as that. What I will recommend is a bleed build, so let's switch to that. I kept my mandatory mods, Serration, Vital Sense, Point Strike and Split Chamber. I am not calling Vigilante Armaments mandatory, definitely not, but you will see that this mod is kinda universal on a lot of builds. It's pretty potent, especially on crit weapons. We're gonna be getting our slashes, not for the weapon's innate slash value, because again, it may be highest, but that status chance is too low. The primary source of slashes will be coming through a very overpowered mod by the name of Hunter Munitions. 30% chance to apply slash status to an enemy on critical hits, and once again we do loads of critical hits. When you're building a weapon for slash, it's a well-known fact that adding viral damage is a tremendous idea, simply because viral on a status proc will be reducing the maximum health of a target to 50% for the duration of the viral effect. So for that duration, especially if your target dies while under viral, your slash is kinda dealt double damage, something like that. It's not gonna count for your DPS on the stupid score screen, but that doesn't matter. It's about killing the target. So let's build some viral damage, which is the elemental combo between cold and toxin. And we're gonna go for the 90 of course not, we're gonna go for the 60 mods in this case, because even though I'm not looking for 1,000 viral procs, I only need 2 or 3 at the very most, I will be getting some additional slashes through the weapon's innate slash value. So increasing my status chance will get me some slashes out of here, not only out of here. So there you go, that's the logic behind that one. You can test it out with 90 mods as well. You'll also notice a bit of a problem if you're going for the 90 mods. While you will be getting more raw damage, you're not going to be getting consistent viral procs on the target, simply because, once again, the base status chance of the Dex Sybaris is only 10%. Even with the 60 mods, you do have sometimes problems in getting a viral proc. And if you're not getting a viral proc with a slash build, then basically you build it for almost nothing. So keep that one in mind as well. The code 6060 is called Rhyme Rounds, and this is the build I'm going to be recommending to you guys. This is a base build and it includes absolutely nothing that is expensive. There's not even high voltage here. All of these mods are 10 to 15 plat on an absolute max. Now you will have to sink a lot of endo into serration, but it's more than worth it as it's present on mostly every single primary build. Unless it's a shotgun and then it's point blank, but anyway, you get the point. So let's test the weapon out like this and see what it can do. With a slash build, what you want to do is hit a target, and I don't even need to look at that. Now that is a whole lot more potent. This is how you build the Dex Sybaris. You build it for slash. And I'm a guy that loves corrosive builds. I love my big numbers. Can you blame me? But for the Dex Sybaris and for the Sybaris Prime, this is the optimal approach. And you will see I'm getting viral apps on the target, and the slashes are ticking away nicely, absolutely nuking the target. Now this is a way you can build slash, but there is another way. By the way, see, no viral proc, what I was saying earlier. Even with the 6060 mods, still no viral proc on the target. So going for the 90 mods will prove even more problematic. But what about that variation on a slash build? Yes, we can tweak this a little bit. Since we're not always getting viral procs, how about we forget about it altogether and focus more on getting more out of Hunter Munitions? Since out of the weapon's innate slash value, we're not going to be getting a lot of slashes. You are getting 2, 3, 4, something like that per clip, but it's not a huge amount. So let's forget about this and go for more crit chance with Argon Scope. Now, once again, with Argon Scope, my crit chance goes over 100%. That means with each and every bullet landed on a target, I'm going to be getting that 30% chance from Hunter Munitions. It's not a guaranteed slash, but at least it can happen now with the 100 plus crit chance. And we're also going to be adding, where are you, bladed rounds. Now, what bladed rounds will do is give me another 120% critical damage, which is the exact same amount as Vital Sense. The only difference is that bladed rounds is an on-kill effect. I personally don't like on-kill effects, but the potency of this mod cannot be denied. From the trade chat, 10 to 15 plat, once again, this is an Acolyte event mod, just like Argon Scope. And we're going to be testing the weapon out like this. Basically, we draw viral and we went for a whole lot more damage. Not only more crits, but also crit damage will mean higher value for our slashes. Now, we're going to have to kill the first target without any additional benefit from bladed rounds. But you will see I get a lot of slashes on the target, and then with the buff from bladed rounds, the red crit, by the way, is from Vigilante armaments. You'll see that the value of the slashes are absolutely bloody hilarious. You can get 3000 plus, which is no joke considering, once again, this is not that high of an MR weapon. No viral on the target means that I don't have to worry about shooting it consistently till I'm sure it's gonna die. So once again, 50% mark, then leave the slashes, do the damage to the target. Time in which you can hide, I guess, because again, if you're looking at a level 120 heavy gunner, then I hope you have some defenses, because these guys do definitely hurt. And by guys, of course, I mean, I heard they're girls, right? They're chicks? Okay, fine, whatever. It doesn't really matter. Again, if you have Argon Scope, then you can go for an approach such as this and simply forget about viral damage altogether. It can be problematic at times, especially considering the base status chance of the Dex Sybaris. Now, there's one more thing, actually, 2 more things, but first, a Riven setup, and of course, I do have a Riven for this one. And this one has multi-shot critical chance and cold damage, and I'm gonna be using that cold together with Malignant Force to make viral damage. Again, I'm trying to build around the Riven. Let's be honest here, you're not gonna be getting ideal Rivens for every single weapon, so it is important to understand how you can work around the build just to cater to the Riven that you got. Then again, take a look at this thing. Only 54% multi-shot and 107% critical chance. The values are not that great. 64% cold as well. That is because, once again, the Riven Dispo for the Dex Sybaris, or better said, for the Sybaris family, is only 2 out of 5. So the values on the Rivens will not be sky high. But once again, this is a bleed build, and we're going to be testing the weapon out like this. and respawn the exact same targets once again. Yes, it is better with a Riven, but keep in mind that it's only Dispo 2, so you don't really need to go out of your way to get a Riven for this weapon. Take a look at that. And now I got my buff from bladed rounds, so the weapon will hurt a whole lot more. Look at the value of those bleeds. Absolutely bloody phenomenal. Honestly, you are getting quite the powerful weapon if you manage to snag this one up during the event. And don't worry if you don't have it just yet. The event will roll around and I'm pretty sure we're gonna be getting another crack at the Dex Sybaris, the Dex Sybaris as well. You'll also be getting a Siandana and the Dex Dakra. The event is, to be honest, super awesome, and I highly recommend you guys make some time to play it when it comes around. And as you can see, the weapon is a tad better with a Riven such as this, and I'm still getting the same issues when it comes to vital procs. I don't get them as consistent as I would have liked, but there you go, beggars can't be choosy. This is definitely an endgame weapon and you should treat it as such. The primary advantage that the Dex Sybaris has over the Prime is the recoil type, because the Sybaris Prime, while it does have lower critical chance, it has a much better status chance, so you can double dip into slash sources a whole lot more efficiently than you can with this weapon. However, keep in mind that being a burst rifle, the Sybaris Prime climbs when it comes to recoil, so not all of your bullets will be landing on your target. Again, depending on distance, depending on the player, blah blah blah, etc. Now let's pump it up with Warframe buffs, and I'm gonna be using Rifle Amp, 27% extra damage to rifles. This is an aura, so everybody in your party will be receiving this benefit, and it is stackable ×4. However, arcanes are a lot more impactful. Arcane Rage is the best one you can get when it comes to primaries. On headshot, 10% chance for plus 120% damage to rifles for 16 seconds. This one is farmable from the third Eidolon down on Cetus. I believe they are free on the Trade Chat PC, going for about 100-150 plat, but I may be wrong on this one. Please check Warframe Market for more appropriate prices. Now, some of you guys have asked me about double stacking on Arcane. What if I was to use 2 Arcane Rages? Am I getting 240% extra damage? No, you're not. You're only getting the 20% chance on headshot. Honestly, it's not really worth it. For your second Arcane, you can go for whatever you like. For example, maybe you want to use your Energize or your Arcane Guardian, but you can also use Arcane Acceleration. On critical hit, 20% chance for 60% fire rate for 6 seconds. It's not a huge benefit in the case of the Dex Sybaris, but you can also go for Avenger, which will give you 30% critical chance bonus additive after. Again, the second one is not as impactful. I'm going to be using acceleration for this demonstration, but again, don't feel the need to go exactly like I did. And one more time, Corrupted Heavy Gunners level 120, and this time also on Pause DI for a more realistic situation. Of course, we're going to be using Mirage's buffs, her free ability, as well as her clones. And when you're rocking this amount of firepower, you can absolutely shred through a high level target in a matter of seconds. Check out the value on those bleeds. It can get up to 15,800, 16,000, something like that, depending on, once again, if it's a crit slash or a normal slash. The Dex Sybaris is an outstanding primary weapon, and I highly recommend you build this one. If you don't have it, don't worry about it. The yearly event will roll around eventually and you will get your chance at grabbing this weapon. And I'm also fully aware that a lot of you guys might wonder, why would I build Slash? Well, in endurance runs, it can be extremely potent because Slash doesn't care about an enemy's armor, so there's that to take into account. Also, these guys would hurt badly, so what I can do is just give them a couple of shots, let the slashes do the magic while I run away and hide, because again, these are level 120s, so they can hurt me pretty badly. Mirage's clones can draw some firepower away from me, but it's a bit of a gamble. And you can also use it on a more beefy frame, something like Inaros or Rhino, for example, just to be able to take a little bit of that damage. I highly recommend you build this weapon. It is absolutely outstanding. It's on par with the Prime for the most part, so pick and choose your favorite. If I had to pick one from the two, I would simply go for this one because I do not like the recoil on the Prime, but again, that is subjective. And that's gonna do it for the review. As always, my name has been Leyzar. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like, favorite, share, and subscribe if you enjoy the content. If you have any feedback for me or would like to request a specific weapon review, then by all means, leave it in the comment section down below. I can't realistically promise you that it will be done by next time or even within a week, because these reviews do take quite a bit of time. But I will be reading through each and every comment. See you guys next time. Bye bye.